Good day mga kaguro! Welcome back to our channel. If this is your first time to watch one of our videos, then please consider subscribing. You can also follow and like our Facebook page, that's still Gurong Pinoy. Today's topic is the pillars of education. There were two education reports that were commissioned by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, and these were Learning to Be, otherwise known as the Fowry Report in 1972, and Learning, the Treasure Within, otherwise known as the Delors Report in 1996. These two reports were efforts to answer the challenges of the 21st century education. They were also geared towards sustainable development education, holistic education, and taking a look at education as a lifelong process. Alright, so ito pong dalawang reports ang naging produkto ng effort ng UNESCO or United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization para po masagot ang mga challenges na kinakaharap ng 21st century education natin para din sa holistic education at dahil din sa view nila that learning is a lifelong process. Now, out of these two, it was the Delors Report, the one that's titled Learning, the Treasure Within, which gave us the pillars of education or the pillars of learning. Okay, so we know this as the four pillars for SDE or for Sustainable Development Education. And these are, of course, learning to know, learning to live together, learning to do, and learning to be. Now, let's take a look at each of these pillars one by one. We start with learning to know. This is the acquisition and development of knowledge and skills that are needed to function in the world. These skills would include literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking. So if you are thinking about learning to know, this all pertains to your knowledge, skills, and attitudes so that you can be mentally competent. Sa makatuwid po, ang naging focus ng learning to know is the brain of the person, rational thinking, higher order thinking skills ng isang tao. Okay, so again, ang focus po ng learning to know would be the brain, the mental capacity of a person. Now we go to the next pillar. The next pillar would be learning to live together. This is the development of social skills and values that enable individuals and societies to live in peace and harmony. This also includes respect and concern for others, social and interpersonal skills, and an appreciation of the diversity among people. Okay, so yung sinasabi po ng learning to live together ay kailangan meron din tayong values, meron tayong attitude kung saan pwede tayong mamuhay kasama ng ibang tao. Okay, kahit na iba-iba yung race natin, iba-iba yung religion natin, iba-iba yung opinion natin sa buhay, pwede tayong maging mapayapa, pwede tayong maging peaceful sa isang society that's learning to live together. Alam niyo po, marami din namang ibang tao na talino pero walang kaibigan, which is very sad. Okay? So yan po yung ina-address ng learning to live together natin na pillar dito. Now we go to the third one, which is learning to do. This means the acquisition of skills that would enable individuals to effectively participate in the global economy and society. These include skills that are often linked to occupational success, such as vocational and technical skills, apprenticeships, and leadership and management competencies. Alright, so ang fino-focus naman ng ating learning to do ay yung mga target goals natin kung saan yung isang estudyante, ang isang tao ay magiging effective sa kanyang trabaho. So meron kang vocational and technical skills, meron kang leadership, meron kang management competencies. Kasi meron din namang matalino, meron din namang maraming kaibigan, pero hindi tumatagal sa kanilang pinagtatrabahuan. Okay? Which means wala silang skills para maging successful sa kanilang trabaho. So yan po yung ina-address ng ating learning to do, our third pillar of learning or our third pillar of education. Now the last pillar that we have here is learning to be. These are activities that promote holistic personal development, the development of the body, the mind, and the spirit for an all-around complete person. This is cultivating one's self-analytical and social skills, creativity, and personal discovery. Alright, so kung meron ka ng learning to know, meron ka ng competency, matalino ka na, meron ka pang learning to do, meron kang skills para maging successful ka in your work, at meron ka ding learning to live together, marami kang kaibigan, meron kang social skills, ang learning to be naman ay for holistic development. So, ang learning to be mo ay mag-guide sa'yo para maging better version of yourself, para ma-achieve mo ang iyong self-sufficiency, ang iyong pagiging kumpletong tao. Okay? So, that's learning to be. Ma-achieve mo ang self-actualization, ika nga ni Maslow. Okay? So, that's learning to be, which is the fourth pillar of education, the fourth pillar of learning that we have for sustainable development education. So, if we are going to summarize all these, we have learning to know, learning to live together, learning to do, learning to be. So again, these are all for holistic education, and this is pertaining to learning as a lifelong process. Pwede pong pag-iba-ibahin natin ang kanilang pagkakasunod. Hindi po sinasabing stricto talaga na the first learning or the first pillar will be learning to know at dapat meron ka munang learning to know para magkaroon ka ng learning to live together. Hindi po ganyan. Pwede po silang i-rumble, pwede po silang ibahin yung sequence. Okay, so again, these are the four pillars for sustainable development education that we have. Again, learning to know, it all pertains to the mental capacity of the person. Learning to live together is that which helps a person become socially graceful, become friendly towards other people who are different from her or who are different from him. Learning to do is so that a person becomes successful at work, and learning to be is going to help a person become holistic. It's going to help a person develop his personality and so that he can achieve his self-actualization. Now, in the more recent years, we have come up with a fifth pillar for sustainable development education. This is learning to transform oneself and society. Now, what are included here are working towards a gender-neutral, non-discriminatory society. That's why we already have our LGBTQA ngayon. Meron na po tayong Pride Month na sinasabi. So, whenever we are educating, we're not just considering the males, the females, but we are also considering those people of the third sex. Integrating sustainable lifestyles for ourselves and others, which means that when you are living, you shouldn't be just living for yourself, but you should also put into consideration the lives of other people. You shouldn't be distracting other people's lives. Being respectful of the earth and life in all its diversity, and promoting democracy in a society where peace prevails. Okay? So your fifth pillar for SDE, which is learning to transform oneself and society, it's actually very similar to learning to live together in harmony. But this is just a step further. Okay? So, mas mataas lang siya kaysa sa learning to live together. When learning to live together, meron ka lang social skills that would enable you to have friends. But this time, in your fifth pillar for sustainable development education, you're learning to transform. This means that you should be flexible, you should be able to adjust so that we can create a peaceful society where everyone is different but yet we are accepting of each other's differences. We are accepting of each other's diversity. Alright, so that's the fifth pillar for SDE. Now, we are going to have our sample Q&A. I repeat, please do not skip ads and please watch this video from start until the end. If you haven't done so yet, like this video and also consider subscribing, and please do not forget to follow our Facebook page. Look for our logo, that's still Gurong Pinoy. Okay, we go to question number 1. Teacher Mary encourages her students to engage in after-school activities that develop all aspects of their life. These include engaging in sports, creative arts, and other activities that promote their mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. Under which pillar of learning is this? Okay, now what are some of the hints that we have here? It says, develop all aspects of their life. Okay, promote mental, not just mental, but also physical and spiritual well-being. So that means this is making us holistic. Under which pillar of learning is this? Now, we all know that this should be learning to be. Okay, so again, learning to be is for holistic development, the development of our personality so that we can reach self-actualization. Now, we go to question number 2. Teacher Risa encourages her students to analyze issues, think critically, and sift through information from sources such as the internet, newspaper, TV, and radio. Under which pillar of education is this? Now, what are some of our hints? Thinking critically, sifting through information. Okay? Alam mo kung saan yung information na mahalaga, alam mo kung saan yung fake news na hindi mo dapat pinagtutuunan ng pansin. So, which pillar should this be? That would be Letter A, which is, of course, learning to know. Okay, so that's all in the mind. That's all critical thinking skills, higher order thinking skills. We go to the next question. Teacher Ruth made each of her students share information about their culture, their unique celebrations, customs, and traditions. This way, her students learn to appreciate and respect cultures other than their own. Under which pillar of education is this? Respecting other people, other people's culture. And that would be pretty easy. This would be learning to live together. Okay, so that would be learning to live together. And we go to number 4. Students at a community college uses a curriculum that integrates career and life skills in the major academic subjects. Teachers provide opportunities for students to enhance such skills as leadership, self-initiative, responsibility, and accountability, among others. These skills can be used by students for life and work when they leave the school. Under which pillar of education is this? Now, we have several tips here. There's career, life skills, there's leadership, self-initiative, responsibility, and most importantly, it says skills that can be used by students for life and work. Okay, so this is pretty obvious. This should be learning to do, and that is letter C. All right, now we go to the next one. What pillar of education, according to Delors, focuses on tech voc relevant to people-centered human development? Okay, so our hints here are the terms technical vocational. Okay, saan nga ba yung technical vocational? We all know that this is related to the world of work. So that's pretty obvious. Your answer here should still be learning to do. So again, learning to know would just be in the mind. Learning to be is for holistic education, is for holistic development. Personality development. Learning to do is for the skills that you need so that you'd be successful at work. And learning to live together would be accepting other people even if they are different from you. Okay, so for number 5, your answer would still just be learning to do. Maraming salamat po. I'll see you in our next video.